The icon, the legend, fashion fair. Can this legendary brand return to its former glory or give us something new and extraordinary? I set forth to find out with the Skinflex Stick foundation and the iconic lipstick. Will it make me flawless or will it be a flop? Find out in my real deal review of the new fashion fair. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Long time no see. As promised, I am back with the first of my 3 bonus brand reviews. In my last video, I showed you guys my most recent makeup haul featuring Black-owned brands that I have found at Sephora. As I mentioned before, Sephora is featuring during the month of September more Black-owned brands and introducing some of them to the mainstream in terms of being carried in their stores. So I thought I would be remiss if I did not start at the very beginning. We're actually going to go back to the future in this video. So the first brand I'm going to review is Fashion Fair. So let's do a real quick history lesson because I think it's very important. Fashion Fair is new to some, but it's iconic to many. It's a brand that, as I said, is loved by many and respected by many more for its contribution to makeup, period, especially makeup for Black women. So this story actually begins way back in 1942 when a man named John Harold Johnson and his wife Eunice Walker Johnson founded Johnson Publishing Company. Now, if you've been near a newsstand within the last 50 to 75 years, you've probably seen a copy of Ebony and or Jet on the stands. Johnson Publishing Company was responsible for these landmark publications that featured the life and lifestyle and positive portrayals of Black people. Very important magazines. So Eunice Johnson was also the fashion editor of Ebony magazine, and in 1958 she actually organized the Ebony Fashion Tour as a fundraiser for a hospital in New Orleans. The fashion tour eventually became what is known as the Ebony Fashion Fair, and it was the first fashion show, traveling fashion tour of its type that featured African American models of all skin tones and colors. Now, while on this tour that highlighted Black models, Eunice Johnson noticed that the models, when they were going to get their makeup done and do it, they were having to like mix and match all of these shades to figure out what would work for them, because they couldn't just go in a store and pick NW40 or whatever the number would be to match them. They had to make it work, which, by the way, was still happening until recently and probably is still happening on runways today. But I digress. Eunice Johnson saw a need that she had the power to fill. So in 1973, with dollars from the Johnson Publishing Company, the Fashion Fair Cosmetics line was born, and it was the first line of its kind that catered to Black women and women of color. So Fashion Fair became very much a standard name when it came to cosmetics for women of color, especially when it came to prestige. Like later on down the line, maybe in my generation, you started to kind of see some drugstore brands make attempts to accommodate other colors. Like I remember when Queen Collection came out, when Maybelline put out Dream Matte Mousse in a couple of colors, whatever the case may be, you had some brands here and there that, had some shades, but you couldn't just walk into a Dillard's or a Macy's or whatever department store and know that you were going to find your shade. But Fashion Fair was there. Fashion Fair had a counter, and Fashion Fair was considered, to use the words of John Johnson, a highline product. It was prestigious and it meant a lot. Now, admittedly, back in the day, I saw Fashion Fair kind of evolve. Like it was a thing, I know, in the 70s. I'm sure it was a thing in the 80s. But as technology went on and the styles of makeup came and went, just growing up as a teenager, I felt like Fashion Fair didn't necessarily keep up with the times formula-wise. Like you could find your color, but a lot of the ladies I saw that wore Fashion Fair, some of them looked funeral chic, which is why I never really got into it. My mother didn't wear Fashion Fair, and I don't think my grandmother wore it either. Fast forward to 2008. So the recession hit. Magazines were hurt really bad. Johnson and its publications were no exception to that, and the Fashion Fair, being an extension of the Johnson Publishing umbrella, hurt as well. Not to mention that a lot of the stores that were good for distributing Fashion Fair, those channels, went away as well. So when the distribution channel suffered, the brand suffered, and in 2018, production stopped completely, which is interesting because I kind of remember Fashion Fair gradually disappearing off the shelves, and I never really made a connection until like one day when I moved here to Nashville. This had to have been maybe 18 years ago, whatever the case may be. I was walking through a mall. I was walking in Dillard's, and I stopped dead in my tracks when I saw a Fashion Fair display, because I thought Fashion Fair was like completely dead. I really did. I had like stop and call my mama and was like, man, I have found the elusive Fashion Fair counter here at Dillard's. It was wild. But anyway, Fashion Fair really did die in terms of production in 2018, and Johnson Publishing eventually went bankrupt. So as part of the liquidation in 2019, Fashion Fair went to auction. And that's when two cosmetic sheroes stepped up to the plate. These women, who used to be executives at Johnson Publishing, Desiree Rogers and Cheryl Mayberry McKissick, stepped up to the plate, as they had already done with another brand, Black Opal, and they bid on Fashion Fair at auction and won. I believe they ended up, with the help of an investor, paying $1.85 million. Thank you, Desiree Rogers, and thank you, Cheryl Mayberry McKissick, for believing in this brand and what it stood for enough to revive it. So here we are, 2021, Fashion Fair officially came back on September the 9th, and they have launched in Sephora. So it looks like Fashion Fair in their relaunch has paid homage to the original favorite products that people knew and loved from the former life, but also modernized them and brought them into the 21st century. So their initial offering is 6 products: the Skinflex Stick Foundation, the iconic lipstick, the iconic pressed powder, as well as the cream to powder skin, which was apparently an old favorite, the fabulous serum, and the setting powder. I chose to try the Fashion Fair Skinflex Foundation, as well as one of the iconic lipsticks in chocolate raspberry. So, without further ado, let's test drive. Okay, so my face is somewhat freshly washed and moisturized. I'm going to take my Makeup Forever primer, a mattifying primer, and just apply it. And I am actually not going to color correct today because I want to see, take that off, I want to see what this foundation is actually going to do coverage wise. All right. So the package says prep skin with FF Fabulous Priming Serum, which I do not have, and apply the Skinflex Stick with a foundation brush sponge or dab directly onto the face. I'm going to do a little bit of both. I'm going to take my stick in Fine Chestnut, which I assume is named after Sam Fine. I could be wrong, and I'm just going to dab that in a few places. Probably don't need that much, but here we are. No turning back. So the formula coming off the stick is drier, a little bit drier than some other foundations. So I'm anticipating that it'll be a truly matte finish. And I'm going to actually blend that with my regular foundation brush. Wasn't expecting that. Right now, I don't really know what to think, to be honest. I'm gonna just dab a little bit under my eyes where I would normally correct and blend. Now, granted, I'm sure that the texture of this foundation would be slightly different if I had used a serum style primer versus the mattifying one that I just used. So I'm going to be fair. But the finish of it is seemingly fully matte. And the color match looks like it's really good. And I will go do the natural light test right quick. Hang on. So far this looks really good. I'm very pleased with the match and how seamless the finish is. So let's keep going. All right, so it looks like this foundation went on fairly smooth and even. It's definitely matte. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like full coverage, but it's full enough for me. I'll tell you that much. I am going to go ahead and work on the rest of my face and then come back to you guys for the lipstick. So I'm going for kind of a soft wearable look. There's a place for glam and cut creases and snow globes and all of that, but sometimes you just want to look naturally done. So I'm just filling in my eyebrows with my Morphe micro brow pencil here. And I don't mind if my brows don't match. They're sisters, not twins. And just kind of brushing through them there. And then adding a little bit of tinted brow gel for dimension. Next, I'm going in with my Juvia's Place concealer in the inner and outer corners of my eyes, my under eyes only. I feel like less is more. I want to give myself somewhere to blend this out to, and I can always add, but can't really take away. So yeah, I'm gonna go in and hit all of the places where the sun would usually kiss my face with bronzer and add a little bit of contour powder to my nose up into my eyebrow. And then I will kiss my cheeks with the NYX Sweet Cheeks Soft Cheek Tint in Showgirl. And I like to add a little bit more than I think I should because my blush tends to wear off and wear down over the course of the day. So don't be alarmed. Going to add a little bit of contour powder under my cheekbones. It may seem overkill, but I feel like just kind of carving that out a little bit more. You know, why not? And I will prime my lids for eyeshadow with my NYX eye primer. I'm gonna go straight in with this kind of orangey brown shade from the Juvia's Place Zulu palette to use as a transition shade and tight line my upper waterline, and then I will line my actual lids. Y'all, this isn't the right way to do that, but you get the point. I'm gonna use a small flat brush to actually smudge and wing that eyeliner out just a little bit. And then I'll use a flat brush to go into my chocolates palette with a dark brown. And I'm mixing a little of that orangish brown from that palette into the dark brown so that it's a smoother transition between my transition shade and my next darkest color. So I am just adding that and blending it out just a little bit. And then I am patting some more of that dark chocolate in, and with a clean brush, blending it out into my outer corner and then into my crease. Now, once I've done that on both sides, I'm gonna take that small flat brush and smudge my eyeliner out with a little bit of black eyeshadow. And then I'm gonna take a bullet brush and carefully add a little bit of that black to my outer V. I'm gonna go back into my chocolate shade and blend that black out and into the crease. And then with my clean fluffy brush, I'm going to try to blend away any harsh edges. And then for my actual lid, I'm taking kind of a light beige color and patting that in. And then I'm going to go back into that transition shade and just kind of make sure I don't have any harsh edges. I'm going to go back into my orangey brown color and line underneath my eyes, and then add chocolate to just the outer portion of my lower eyelid. And I will then line my waterline with black pencil. Kind of going for a 90s supermodel kind of soft look. And I'll set the whole thing with my Makeup Forever Mist and Fix, followed by my Makeup Forever HD powder. Just gently kind of pressing that into my face. Y'all, it's hard to talk through this on camera, so bear with me. And last but not least, I am going to add my Uma by Sharon C Batter Boom Mascara. All right, so I have my entire face done, down to our chocolate raspberry lipstick. So this is chocolate raspberry. It's a pearlescent shade of berry, and it's a satin formula. So let's see. Ooh. It's a very moisturizing formula. I love how pigmented it. Ooh, y'all, look at this. Hopefully you can tell it's kind of a magnetic container, but that's pretty cool. Lets me know that if I stick this in my purse, I don't have to worry about the top coming off. But anyway, it's one of the classic, I believe, shades. They brought back several of the old school fashion fair shades of the lipstick and added some new ones. So in terms of the verdict, I'm liking everything that I have on so far. In terms of the foundation, I put it on 3 hours ago, and so far I'm not seeing any kind of shine, especially not in my T-zone where I normally do. And it's not cakey, it's not peeling. It's really kind of a cream to powder finish. In terms of the shades, this foundation is actually available in 16 different shades, from Stormy Sand to Black Brunette. A very, very, very rich black brunette. It is vegan, and it is kind of following the trend of a lot of the new makeup that has a skincare component to it. It has rice bran wax, aloe leaf extract, soybean oil, vitamin E, and tribehenin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But those are a lot of ingredients that are meant to draw moisture into the skin and keep it there. So I am so far really enjoying kind of the classic finish of that stick foundation. It's also medium buildable coverage and it's semi-matte. So you can, with the combination of their powders, apparently build that up and get a true full coverage matte finish if you would like that. But this satin finish is going to be a really great addition to my collection. And I really love this lipstick. The lipstick also comes in 16 different shades, some of them matte, some of them pearlized, like this one. I believe they actually brought back a few of the iconic old school shades. I want to say this is one of them, and added on some new ones. I'm enjoying how soft this formula is. It's a nice satiny, true satin finish that makes me kind of feel like an adult. I like it. This is kind of, the makeup I think I would wear on Sunday morning when I'm doing my very best first lady. So far, just at first impression, I am willing to give Fashion Fair a mighty fine. I would love to go in and try this foundation with that serum primer to see how those products work together, and perhaps a powder. But all in all, all in all, I am very, very proud of Fashion Fair. I'm proud of what it represents. I'm appreciative to the two ladies that chose to invest in this brand and believed in it enough to bring it back and let a younger generation like me experience and appreciate it. So with that being said, let me know if you have either tried the old school Fashion Fair or the new school Fashion Fair, and if you plan to. And I will see you guys back for the next review. As always, wear what you love what you wear, and wear it well. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.